Hey, tervetuloa. Welcome to this episode of International Business from Finland podcast with me, Mark Wiltshire, where I take you behind the scenes of my solo enterprise or toiminimi in Finnish, working with directors and business owners of Finnish companies, sharing the workload so that you can focus on growing your business. And this week, I'll be asking, what with the outbreak of the COVID-19 coronavirus, is this the worst time to start a podcast about international business? The International Business from Finland podcast with Mark Wiltshire. Talking international sales, entrepreneurship, and making connections between Finnish companies, entrepreneurs and workers migrating to Finland. Back in late 2015, after some encouragement from my future co-hosts Mark and Rich, I co-launched the Finnish football show podcast. Only 5 months and 5 shows later, we recorded the show that asked the question, is this the worst time to start a podcast about Finnish football? The national team was struggling, the Veikkausliiga closed for winter. It seemed like an appropriate question. And so, as I record this in March 2020, I find myself asking a similar question. Do I just start podcasts at the wrong time? I've been planning this one for months. Having launched my toiminimi company, I wanted a way to market the work that I'm doing, and being a podcaster, this seemed like the obvious medium for me. But these things take time: designing the artwork, registering on podcast platforms, creating social media pages, waiting for the theme music, so on and so on. All that meant that by the time I recorded my first episode in March 2020, we were already in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. And this is not really about the pandemic, but I think because every podcast is about it at the moment, and we don't all want to listen to that over and over. But I've been thinking, having a crisis of confidence, really. Like, is this the wrong time to start? In all honesty, I don't know. It's kind of too early to say. Right now, most companies that can are requesting that their workers stay at home. It's voluntary up to a point in Finland rather than legislated, and not enforced, although since writing this script and recording it, there are restrictions being put in place in south of Finland, so it's ever-changing. It's another reason I don't really want to focus too much on the virus, because by the time you're hearing this in the future, it will have changed. So, also most schools here, anyway, have sent children home and are sending school assignments home via email. This is an additional challenge for parents who are now working at home, and they're used to working in offices, now find themselves teaching at home. No one really knows how far these restrictions will go. To say the future is uncertain is something of an understatement at the moment, not just here in Finland, but around the world. I guess that's how a pandemic works. It affects the whole world all at once. So far, though, I'm noticing several effects on my business personally. Work that involves interacting with a large group has basically been postponed, hopefully to be rescheduled after the virus has passed. One customer that was hiring me as an additional resource has cut the hours down, although we are going to continue working together. Some of the sales work I do has customers on renewing annual contracts, and just in the past week I've had customers doubting whether they're going to renew for another year. And also there's been a lot more remote meetings and video calls. Each of these cases needs to be approached sensitively on a case-by-case basis. However, coronavirus will pass and business will start to return to normality. We just don't really know when yet. I'm going to paraphrase my business partner at Export, Maria. She put a LinkedIn post out the other day, and I'm going to read this to you, the paraphrasing of it anyway, and translating of it. The cancellation of international B2B exhibitions has hit many exporting companies now that you can't meet with current or future customers face to face. There is still work to be done, for example, researching potential partners in target markets or contacting them to introduce products can still be done, even now. Sales are increasingly moving online, not just consumer products, so if you have a list of previous contacts from exhibitions, continue working on them now, full steam ahead. And I think it's right. I think that even if you're selling internationally, even the people that maybe you're selling to overseas are feeling the effects of the restrictions on working and daily life, but they're still trying to work. And everybody, I guess, is thinking, when this ends, I want work to restart and we get back to whatever normal is afterwards. So keeping that contacting, keeping those connections going should be the right thing to do, and it should be an important thing to do. I mentioned before about the Finnish football show. We had a similar conversation. What is a Finnish football show without Finnish football? There are people in many areas of Finland Finnish football who've been affected. Clubs have sent players home. Veikkausliiga season is cancelled, or not cancelled, but postponed, delayed. Euro 2020 has been delayed for another 12 months. And the idea occurred to me that we should try and speak to people throughout the football system to understand exactly what they're experiencing in their role. And I'll put a link in the show notes to this Behind the Quarantine series, which launched last week at the end of March 2020 with an interview with Richie Dorman at SJK Seinäjoki here, our local team, about what is the football club doing? What is the technical director at a football club doing when there's not the ongoing day-to-day business of football? So with this in mind, I'm going to continue with this new podcast. I don't want to kill it before it's even started. I'm going to continue to share my experiences working under these current circumstances, what work has stopped, what work has continued, what opportunities, if any, have arisen. And I hope that by sharing my experiences, it may be something that you can relate to. In difficult times, to know you're not alone might be just what you need to hear. There have been several occasions in the past where I've spoken to other business owners, heard their challenges, kind of gained some perspective on my business. I also hope that you might want to share your experiences, maybe on my Facebook page, or simply by email, or maybe you want to talk about it. I'm open to that as well. This could even be something that we talk about on a later episode of the International Business from Finland podcast. I don't know. I've got an idea about one or two companies that I might like to feature on there that cross this international business and entrepreneurship and immigrant. There's immigrant entrepreneurs. There's kind of certain people within this triangle, the nexus of these three subjects that I'm interested to speak to, and I hope might be interesting for you. But really, anyone in Finland doing some kind of international business, if there's something that you want to know about. I don't know if I got the answers, but I'm happy to try. Or if there's something you want to talk about, great. Let's see where this goes. I don't know how it's going to develop for my business or for my podcast, but I think it's okay to try to accept that's the situation and embrace the uncertainty for the time being. Nothing lasts forever. Hopefully, this applies to the COVID-19 coronavirus. But while we're still in isolation mode, let's keep talking, keep sharing experiences, and kind of help each other through these times until we come out the other side. So, as is usual on podcasts, I'm going to ask you to rate and review this show in your podcast player. Also, if you found it useful, interesting, entertaining, or thought-provoking, feel free to buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Wiltshire. I live in Finland, we drink a lot of coffee, and if you want to show some appreciation, I will certainly take your coffee. That would be amazing. If you want to, I said before about contacting, so if you want to contact me, reach out, mark.wiltshire.tmi@gmail.com. You can find me on social media, for example, Twitter @MarkWiltshire, or on Facebook, or on my website, markwiltshire.com. Thanks as ever to Mark from Dodo Bones for the theme music. You'll find a link to Dodo Bones in the show notes. But for another episode of the International Business from Finland podcast, we're finished for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.